Which squad had the better comeback?
Molly, the Giants did, and I'm going to tell you why. First off, the Giants gave up 60 points before they ever scored a single point. I was sitting back going, this is like, oh my goodness, this is the worst ever. And then all of a sudden they came back. I think it spoke volumes about the culture that they have in that building, because they never just gave the white flag. They were like, no. And I started with the head coach. I see how animated he was on the sideline, Brian Daboll. He was fired up. He was all into it. There was no quit whatsoever in that team. And then the next guy trickled down to was Daniel Jones, and then Saquon Barkley. All of a sudden it's like, no, like they were like, no, we are going to come back in this thing. There was absolutely one of the greatest comebacks you'll see. And this happens about once every 2 or 3 years that we'll see a comeback like this. Last year we saw it with obviously the Vikings against the Colts, and they went on to have a pretty darn good season. So to me, I think it's great signs about moving forward for the Giants right here, but some major concerns as well. Like, why the hell are you down 28-0 to the Cardinals? But for them to come back the way they did, I thought it was a fantastic comeback.
Shannon, I'm of the mindset it was the Commanders. It was the Commanders against your Denver Broncos. Look, man, the Denver Broncos, we got some problems in the Mile High City. Now, we were there twice over the last couple of weeks, okay?
Yes.
And we know the tradition. You know, 2-time Super Bowl champion as a Denver Bronco. We know how you're beloved in that city as well. You should be. We get it. There are expectations.
Yes.
And then there is the arrival of Russell Wilson. I'm going to say what I've said on several occasions. The only thing good that Russell Wilson has brought to the city of Denver is Sierra. I mean, that is just a fact, all right, thus far. Now, obviously, you're looking at Sean Payton. And by the way, this has not been the greatest beginning for him, and I get all of that. You up 21-3.
Correct.
Not just to a Washington franchise with a corny-ass name like the Commanders. They should have named them the Generals or something else. The name is corny. It's whack. Change it, okay? That's a different subject for another day. But Sam Howell is your quarterback. I'm going to repeat that. Sam Howell. Now, he looked pretty damn good yesterday, okay? So let's give props where props is due. And I'm going to tell you something like this. Today, we're going to talk about this today.
Okay.
We're going to bring up that name, Eric Bieniemy.
EB has Sam Howell looking like a competent quarterback.
Yes.
He's playing extremely well. But I'm going to agree with Rex. Think about it. You've been outscored 60-0. It would be so easy, and you're on the road, and you're down 20-0 before you can blink your eyes. It would be so easy to like, man, here we go again. But that's not what they did. Daniel Jones, Saquon says, no, we're not going out like this. And slowly but surely, they started to mount that comeback. And then they score. Now all of a sudden it's 28-7. I'm like, man, they going up and down the field on the Giants. Giants says, you know what? Let's get a stop. Daniel Jones get 4 straight possessions, 4 straight touchdowns. To go on the road after being down 60-0 is so easily.
Were you impressed with Daniel Jones?
I was impressed with Daniel Jones, considering that I was unimpressed with him opening night.
Yeah.
Did you see how bad he looked, Stephen A., that Sunday night against the Cowboys?
Yeah, I expected that.
Had he ever played? I'm like, had you ever played quarterback before in your entire life? And now he looks like wow. His second half explains why they gave him $40 million a year. Everybody's like, man, why they get Daniel Jones that money? Hell, I was one of the ones that had the microphone. Why they get Daniel Jones that money? You look at the second half, he 17 of 21, 259, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 8 carries for 58 yards on a touchdown. That's why they gave him that money.
Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah.
Sexy Rexy. Okay, see, I said it, okay? I said it once. You get it once, okay? All right, I ain't gonna say it again. It was against the Arizona Cardinals, who was not going to be a good team this year. It was against a team quarterback, Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah.
Ain't Kyler Murray back there. It's Joshua Dobbs. The crime is that they were in that deficit to begin with.
Right.
Okay, it ain't no damn crime that the Giants were able to do what they did in the second half against them. By the way, your team got outscored the first 6 quarters of the season, 60-0. That was epic in and of itself. So I give them props.
How about the last 2 quarters?
I give them props for coming back for the last 2 quarters.
Tell the whole story.
I'm a Brian Daboll fan. He's the coach of the year for a reason. But I'm just saying, y'all, we ain't expecting much from Arizona this year. We all know it. We expect a little bit more from Denver. We didn't expect much from the Commanders, and look what the Commanders did.
Let me ask you a question.
On the road.
Why are you expecting more from the Broncos? Because they brought in Sean Payton?
Yes. Absolutely.
That's the only reason.
Well, Sean Payton and a veteran quarterback who's a Super Bowl champion.
How did that veteran quarterback look the last half of Seattle and last year?
Well, let me tell you this. Let's not bring up last year. He had Nathaniel Hackett. I keep telling you
Okay.
that. I keep telling you that.
Okay.
That's the crime. That's the crime. This man is lucky. Nathaniel Hackett, Santa Claus strolled up in the summertime. He didn't wait till the winter. You know what I'm saying? When he came in and rode in on a sleigh. Oh, no. He arrived in the summer because Nathaniel Hackett is lucky to have a job. Him and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers got him that damn job. Ain't no reason after that job he did in Denver. He should have been exiled for a year from football for the atrocity that took place in Denver last year.
But for me, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a great defensive mind, but does Russell Wilson look the same to you?
No.
No, but and in all fairness, you're right. He's not the same guy he was, because at the time we thought he was a borderline Hall of Fame quarterback with Seattle. I mean, that's just a fact. Here's what I also know about Denver right now. Okay, because we're all looking, how come this marriage, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, doesn't seem to be clicking? Well, it is clicking. This team has averaged more points per possession than any offensive unit in the National Football League. Nobody knows that. It's the truth. Last week, they only had 6 possessions. So whose fault is that on? It's on their defense. Their defense is supposed to be number 1 in the league. If I was going to be the coordinator, I don't know what the hell it's doing now. That's who's letting this team down. It's their defense. It's not the offense. So to me, it's a crazy stat. This team is more points per possession than any offense in the league. So to me, I think it's fixable. And we just got to get that defense playing to what the expectations were. Because when I saw the talent they had on that defense, I'm like, there's no reason why this shouldn't be the top defense in the league.
Well, they can't consistently rush the passer like they did, but it goes back now. So now I'm back in Seattle. So now I think we might need to give the Legion of Boom a little bit more credit, because we're saying Russell Wilson doesn't look the same. If he's Russell Wilson, the defense shouldn't matter. So, but it's a big difference playing behind Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman and Bryant and Averill and Red. And Bobby Wagner.
No, you were somewhere else at the time. So what happened was that when Seattle won the Super Bowl, when they lost that Super Bowl, when Darryl Bevell and Pete Carroll sit up there and call that ridiculous play instead of giving it to beast mode at the half-yard line. Ever since that day, I've been going off and I've been saying this. Now, obviously, I know some members from the Legion of Boom and beyond. They were not happy. Folks felt like Seattle wanted Russell Wilson to be the hero.
Yes. Yep.
Instead of honoring the Legion of Boom and what they bring to the table and beast mode.
Right.
And that completely eviscerated the culture that existed in Seattle. That's what's going on with that, and that's what we know.
We got to leave it there, but back with our earlier question about Commanders and Giants. Yes, absolutely.
Hold on,
I just want to give an update. Stephen A. so right, so true,
Thank
etc. I just want to give an update on Saquon Barkley. Saquon is having an MRI today. They're hoping it's a regular ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain, because remember, they got a short turnaround. They play Thursday in San Francisco. In the first 3 seasons of the expanded playoff format, only one of the 23 teams to start 0-2 ended up reaching the postseason. That was last year when the Bengals rebounded to make their 2nd straight AFC Championship game. Rex Ryan back here with us. But Stephen A., I'm starting with you. How worried are you about Burrow?
I'm not that worried. Burrow's been in the league for 4 years. 3 times they've started out 0-2. Last time I checked, they were in back-to-back AFC Championship games, plus a Super Bowl appearance. I'm just not that concerned. Now, I will say this. He didn't participate in the preseason because he was injured. So what's the number? I think he's 0 for 12 on passes, 15 or more yards thus far this year. That is definitely not good. We understand that. But at the end of the day, I think Jamar Chase is still on that squad. I remember. I think T. Higgins is still on that squad. Didn't I remember that? I mean, Mix is still on that squad, right? I think he's there. I think they'll be fine. Don't get me wrong. The AFC is tougher this year. They got to get it going. If there's any concern, it's because, fellas, he hasn't participated in the preseason. So it's not just about an 0-2 start. It's about that level of rust. That has me slightly concerned, but that's all. I find Joe Burrow to be a winner in big time, and I know what Jamar Chase and T. Higgins bring to the table. I'm not sitting up there and too worried as of yet.
I'm worried because I'm a firm believer if you limp into the season, you'll limp out of it. You mentioned that calf injury that caused them to miss all of training camp. Now, seemingly, he's re-aggravated. Now, he and Jamar Chase were not on the same page. I think Jamar Chase has about 7 catches for 70 yards. So he's upset. So what if this calf injury forces him to miss time? And I think that could be a strong possibility because he's limped into the season. And when you're talking about a quarterback dealing with lower body injuries, that's how he throws the football. He's got to plant, he's got to shift his momentum and spin the football down the field. I'm worried because and I understand that was a monsoon out there the first game of the season against Cleveland. But he doesn't look the same. 21 of 41, 222, 2 touchdown interception. And that offensive line, I don't know how much money they spent, but it's still the same. It's still a sieve, and they just come in and they just keep hitting Burrow. Now, I'm worried. I am really worried because they've already lost, Rex, 2 division games. Right. So you're already behind the 8 ball trying to catch.
He's only been sacked 3 times, though. But I will say this. There's reason for concern when your backup is some dude named Jake Brown. I never heard of him.
Well, I know he went to the University of Washington, but hey.
Never heard of him. All right.
Yeah,
well, go ahead.
I've heard of him, but yeah, look, I'm worried too. And Shannon's point about you lost 2 games. What's different between losing 2 games this year compared to losing 2 games last year? Well, the big difference is you lost 2 division games. So to me, those games always used to count like a game and a half.
Game and a half.
So to me, that's a different. And the biggest thing to me though, with that leg, like they were all in. Hey, let's go into the season. We're going to play them, rest them, and now we're going to play them at the regular season. Okay? It kind of looks like they probably should have waited a little bit. All right? Now you've made your bed. So now you got a guy right here. Mobility is a big part of Joe Burrow's game. His mobility to move in the pocket and to move away from the pocket. It's a huge part of his game. If that is no longer there, I am worried.